Hi, I'm Grubby, and in an interview from 2003, I apparently said, I will never become a full-time gamer. This, as it turns out, was a lie. The rest of this video will all be truth. If you clicked on this video, the YouTube algorithm has decided that the world is ready for more Warcraft 3, and I would appreciate it if you tapped like right now to further this successful indoctrination of the world towards appreciating the best game ever made. Blizzard just announced that BlizzCon 2026 is going to have a Warcraft 3 tournament, in addition to having Heroes of the Storm, StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2, in that very same Blizzard Classic Cup. So there will never be a better time to start Warcraft 3 than now. This video is the first in a 10-part guide series that aims to stand the test of time and helps you understand how to play and improve at Warcraft 3. The next 9 parts will include topics such as interface keyboard and mouse, economy, hero management, army management, early game creeping and build orders, item usage, unit control aka micro, macro and production, and practicing and improving. This video is going to be part of a playlist with all those new guides. In this first video, I'm going to be telling you why, where, and how to play Warcraft 3. Let's begin with the why. If you're about to start playing Warcraft 3, you're on an amazing and sometimes difficult journey to test your mettle. The genre of real-time strategy had its golden age in the early 2000s with the peak of technical engineering and extensive quality assurance testing. Several studios competed in the race to the top, and Blizzard, I would say, came out ahead with some of the best multiplayer RTS games, alongside, for instance, the Age of Empires series. Age of Empires 2, StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2, Warcraft 3 are some of the best RTS games that have stood the test of time. And 3 of those received remasters to modernize them, and are therefore perfectly playable to this very day. Warcraft 3 is a masterpiece of passion and engineering, and I hope you will grow to love the game as much as I do. Playing Warcraft 3 takes you on a journey of self-improvement in an artistic, challenging and fun game that is very well made and is the perfect mixture of pacing, game-to-game variety, strategical options, and satisfying gameplay. Fair warning, Warcraft 3 now has an experienced player base, so initial online games will feel a little challenging, but with practice and with my guides, hopefully you can find your way to thoroughly enjoying the bouts that you'll be having in this game. Also, hopefully, with this new 10-part guide video series, I'll be able to help you a little bit along the way to help divining the inner workings of this masterpiece. So let's move on to the where. Warcraft 3 was released as a base game in 2002, and it was called Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos. An expansion for it was released within the year in 2003, and it was called The Frozen Throne. The base game was required in order to be able to play the expansion, for it to be functional. You bought these games generally in a physical store, and they came on CDs and accompanied with a CD key that enabled your legal license of the game. In 2018, a remaster was announced, and this was released in January of 2020. This remaster is called Warcraft Reforged, and it had a rocky publicity run, as it was hurried, internally underfunded, and grossly mismanaged. What should have been an easy win remaster, and make some nice extra profit on the side, and earn some goodwill from fans, was instead released as a bungled mess with many deprecated features. But this is not a history video, so I'm going to be leaving out most of the now unimportant details. But suffice to say that from 2022 onwards, 2 years after Reforged's release, Blizzard set about fixing a lot of the mess that they had created, inadvertently or otherwise. Now in 2025, 5 years hence, Reforged is a superior product than both the initial Warcraft Reforged release and better than the original Warcraft 3 would have been now in 2025 without edits, as it offers many accessibility and quality of life features to present-day Warcraft 3. You should know that the official support for Warcraft 3 Original, Reign of Chaos and TFT, has ceased, as it has been assimilated and transformed into Reforged now. The original Warcraft 3 is no longer playable online via Blizzard's Battle.net service. The original CD key for Reign of Chaos can now also no longer be transmuted into a valid Reforged license since November 2025. If you had not previously entered your Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos CD key to your Battle.net account and you went and got yourself Reforged already, playing online now requires you to purchase a new copy of Warcraft Reforged for $30 or $15 during one of its discount periods. This has happened about 3 to 4 times so far over the last 2 years. Once you have Warcraft Reforged, download and install it on your Battle.net launcher, and you can go onto Battle.net to begin playing online. In the year 2020, when Reforged launched, Blizzard forgot to include online ranked play. Whoops! So the community created a custom ladder that cleverly used some part of the game's engineering to automatically create simulated LAN games, and they tracked all results automatically to a third-party server and website, and they created their own custom ranking system. This system is called W3champions.com. Even though Blizzard has already added their own ladder, their own ranked ladder and ladder system and ranking leaderboard, etc., they've already re-added it into the game, but I'd argue W3 Champions still does a bit of a better job. And most players that are looking to play Warcraft 3 the right way use this service. It complies with Blizzard's intellectual property rights, as it does require you to log in to your Battle.net account to authenticate your valid license. Using W3 Champions is as simple as going to w3champions.com and then downloading and installing the launcher. When I held the OnlyFans Warcraft 3 Invitational in May 2025, Tyler 1 and Likari initially just desired the lower barrier of entry of not having to get the third-party launcher, and they played on Battle.net instead, which is generally fine. This generally works fine, and while there are several quality of life features missing on Battle.net, there was more griefing and trolling from opponents. Enemies would sandbag or engage in bad conduct, and I would have to censor it on YouTube if I were to show it to you now, so you kind of get an idea of what it might be. Both Tyler 1 and Likari moved to W3 Champions forthwith. So, as a summary, between the two, both playing on Battle.net and playing on W3 Champions is fine. Both have been vastly improved over the last few years, and you can have a good time on both. You can practice the game, play against other people. W3 Champions has a slightly faster matchmaking adjustment algorithm, which means no matter how good or bad you are, you'll get to where you belong, your true level on the ladder, faster on W3 Champions. There are newbies on both, and there are better players on both, and you can find where you belong on either system. You should expect a rough first few games on either platform though, since there is always going to be a more experienced player base for a game that wasn't exactly released yesterday. So how does one get started, being completely new to Warcraft 3 and being interested to eventually playing with other people online? Here's how. Before playing online, I usually recommend that people might want to spend a little bit of time to enjoy the game through the fantastic campaign. Whatever difficulty level you end up choosing, there are 3. This will show you a bunch of lore, the story, teach you the game gradually and slowly unlock more units for you, mission after mission, so that you can learn the game in a very gradual manner. If you're less interested in the campaign, or want to jump into melee games more quickly, another great way to start learning the game is to simply pick a race that appeals to you most, there are 4, and focus only on that one race to start learning the game. The best road to starting to play online would be to first pass a series of challenges, namely, learn how to beat the easy AI, then normal AI, and then eventually insane AI. Insane AI cheats and gets double the gold income compared to a human player, so it could be pretty challenging. Over 99% of people that play Melee online can beat Insane AI reliably and repeatedly. So it's a good final test of skill to at least be able to clear Insane AI reliably before starting online. Take heart if this is difficult for you in the beginning. Warcraft 3 is quite a complex game, but hopefully with my help you'll be able to get there in a satisfying time frame. Familiarizing yourself with your race can also be done in a single player game with no opponent. Use cheats like Greed is Good, 50,000, and Warp 10 to quickly build up a town in single player with lots of buildings and making every unit available. And then just go ahead and see how each unit behaves, what every building does, and so forth. There are also many settings that can make your life easier, so I'll just go over them real quick. When you launch a copy of Warcraft 3, you can go to the options. The video options are very preferential, but I do recommend turning off vertical sync. This will create a little bit of input lag, and in a game like this, you are best without it. In the sound section, again, it's very preferential. None of this really matters in terms of your performance in the game, so it's very preferential. Under gameplay, there are a couple of important settings you're probably going to want to turn on or off based on my recommendations. Let's start over here on the right. I always turn on automatically save replays so I can review games and get a little bit better understanding of what happened. By default, in-game opponent chat is disabled. You might want to enable it if you enjoy having discourse with your opponents in online melee games. It is not required though, and I can understand in a competitive game where sometimes people are not that civil to just leave it off. But in case you're wondering why you can't write to your opponent to say GG after you lost, which is usually common in Warcraft 3, it'll be because you don't have this enabled. The default camera distance is 1650. I would recommend zooming out to 2000 to 2400 or somewhere in between that. For the column over here on the left, the show unit life bar, go ahead and turn on always so that you can see everyone's health. For team colored life bars, I personally prefer to have it off, but some people have found it useful to turn this on. It is easier to see which unit belongs to which faction, which one is yours and which one is your opponent's when you turn this on. But it's easier to see how healthy units are if you have it off, as it allows for you to see a gradient of health color change as a unit drops lower. This will help you to pull back hurt units so you can save them later. Turn on show hero level, show numbers for cooldowns, show deny icon, show gold mine unit counter. And for your chat, if you're a streamer, you might want to turn on show ping, show actions per minute, and show time elapsed. For the setting under input, I'm gonna have a bigger chapter of a future guide dedicated to your key bindings and your keyboard and mouse. But if you're new to the game, I recommend you to use Grid. Grid allows you to have most of your important hotkeys all situated on the left side of your keyboard. Whereas if you go with Classic, the hotkeys for certain actions in game will be spread out over your entire keyboard, including letters like P, O, or I, which are rather farther away. I'm personally a custom user, which is Classic with a couple of changes, but Grid is good for a new player. And in the hotkey section, you can make changes to what hotkeys you want to use on heroes if you do decide to go with Classic. There's also a toggle here in the bottom right. If you own a copy of Warcraft Reforged, you can use the new graphic settings. The new graphic settings are generally quite reviled among Warcraft 3 fans, and while some people don't care or can't tell the difference or don't mind, even outside of an aesthetic point of view, Reforged graphics will divide your FPS by 3, and that's a significant competitive disadvantage. I recommend to use the classic graphics that were made when Blizzard was great. Is that too harsh? Alright, okay, that was the quick little demo about settings. I have made some guides before, including build order guides and getting started guides. I've included 6 links in this YouTube description. 5 are to recent guides, including build order guides for human and elf, for beginners. 1 is a link to a playlist with hero spotlights, and each link still links to a guide that has great relevance to this day if you want to whet your appetite on more Warcraft 3 guide content right now. Otherwise, there are 9 more guides coming in late 2025 and early 2026 that will form a comprehensive path to learning Warcraft 3 and learning to enjoy yourself with it. The next guide, guide number 2, will focus on how to use your mouse and keyboard, along with all kinds of tricks with the keyboard and mouse, how to get the most out of your actions, certain keybinds that may not be very apparent to you, etc. You'll be able to increase your actions per minute, aka APM, and make your APM smarter to boot as well. So hit subscribe on this channel and hit notifications if you want to be informed of its release. Hope you found this a good intro, and I'll see you in the second guide in a little while.